Hi everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Whenever you do watch the replay or join in on this live, hopefully we can have some interaction and some of you in the audience. So thank you so much. And today we're going to be talking about personal branding in the legal profession. And I'm going to be joined by my colleague, Khairiyah Safeda, and she will talk about it from her perspective as well, being a business owner, law firm, right? Um, to and the importance of having a personal brand, right? And of course, if you follow me on LinkedIn, um, then you know that I talk about it as well, and I've done a couple of master classes, webinars on the topic, and I believe that personal branding is a necessity if we're going to transform at least the way we market ourselves and the way we present ourselves in the legal profession. And as you will discover in our discussion, that we're going to be talking about it just from a life standpoint, what it is to have a personal brand. What does it mean in terms of your public life and not just in the business or in the professional context, right? So it's a very wide ranging or a topic that has a lot of implications for your life in general. And I know we're going to have a good discussion today. If our prep session yesterday was anything to go by, then we have a lot to talk about. In fact, I told Khairiyah yesterday that maybe we should have just recorded yesterday's conversation and posted that. But of course, we're going to try to replicate that discussion in today's live. Welcome, my friend. It's nice to see you this morning.
Good morning, Lisa. How are you?
It's been a morning, but I know we have a good chemistry, so conversational chemistry, and these days you have to be careful, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh, but we have very good conversational, and I think just our relationship as colleagues is growing. So, we always have a good chat. And like I said, I wish we could have recorded yesterday's chat, but I think today's one, if anything, will probably be better than yesterday's preparation call. So, yeah. um, so I'll let you start it off. And then I will just, I've got my notes, so I will follow along with you and take my cues. So take it away.
So, hi everyone. Um, I'm Khairiyah Safeda, and I am not a personal branding expert by no means. So that's just a disclaimer out there. But Lisa and I thought it would be a good idea to talk about personal branding and personal branding in the legal space. And I think in today's fast paced world, the way that you present yourself is so important, whether that is online, whether that is offline, whether that's within your organization, outside of your organization. People are always watching you, and they're always making judgment calls about you. They have certain perceptions about you. Maybe they've made assumptions about you. And so I think from a personal branding point of view, it's very important that you try to control that narrative, right? Whether or not you like it, everyone has a personal brand. If you go and Google yourself, and I please encourage you to go ahead and Google yourself, you'll pop up and there'll be information about you on Google, and that's your personal brand, right? Whether or not you like it, it's out there. And so, to me, personal branding is the act of controlling that narrative, the act of controlling what people know about you, what people say about you. It's the act of trying to control your reputation and the perceptions around you. And I think it is about how you present yourself, the way you dress, the way you look, your manners, your social etiquette, the way you talk, and it's also your skills, right? Whether that be your technical skills or your soft skills, that all forms part of the you package, right? Your personal brand. Um, and we all know in marketing, the way you package everything is very important. And so it's important from a personal branding perspective that you package yourself in the right way. And you package yourself in a way that you are happy with. And I think the big question is, you want to ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be perceived as? Um, and Lisa and I spoke about this yesterday. It's about being very authentic, being yourself, and making sure that you understand your values, who you are, and what you do, and how you want to help someone, and becoming the go-to person for whatever it is that you do. Okay, maybe that's trademark law. You need to ensure that people know about that. That's the more people that know about you, the better for you. So we thought we'd kick it off with what is personal branding. And to me, that's your reputation, what people say about you, what people know about you, and the act of controlling all of those things. Lisa, I don't know if you want to add anything into that.
I think it's overall it's how people perceive you, and I think for the most part we are unconscious, or we unconsciously contribute to that, how people perceive us. And it could be, like you said, it could be the stuff you post on social media, maybe the the social life that you have, the friends that you hang out with, how they perceive you, your spending habits, okay, the financial institutions are tracking your spending habits, if you want to extend it to that. So it's like, if unconsciously your brand is out there. By branding, we mean, what is it that people associate with you? What is it that they associate with your behavior, your character, your habits, your reputation? So I think, just to take away the fluff from what it's become, personal branding and becoming associated with influencer culture and all that, it's so much more than that. It actually extends to all of those unconscious behaviors that we've been engaging in, and maybe stuff that we've been saying, that have already created a perception of you in other people's minds. And it could be in the minds of lay people, in the minds of the profession, in the minds of your friends. So I think it's important just to take it out, that far, to say that we have been building our brands unconsciously. But now what we're going to be focusing on is, okay, we are now wanting to make it in the professional space. And so that requires us to do this branding thing with intention, and maybe doing some correction where, people have, where our behavior has caused bad perceptions or a bad taste in people's mouths. So I think personal branding in the professional space, you know, it simply means that we are now doing it consciously, because it's going to affect the way other professionals see us. It's going to affect our business. It's going to affect our ability, or our prospects, to earn income and for new clients. And so there's a lot more that's riding on that public perception. So therefore, you have to do it now with a lot more intention.
Yes.
And you got to be so careful how you present yourself. And as you touched on, there's so many things that we're going to unpack, like your etiquette, your social media presence, the way you interact personally with clients and colleagues, your manners, your dressing, your hygiene, right? The stuff you post on social media. And I think yesterday we touched on keeping those two accounts separate, which I'm sure we'll go into a bit later. But it's all of those things, and now you just simply, because you want to hopefully be perceived in a way that elevates you as a professional, you're going to pay attention to all of those things. So I think that's what we are talking about in the professional context, is that now if we don't deliberately make an effort to change or even to create a perception, if there's absolutely nothing out there about you, if we don't make an attempt to change, to maintain, or to even create a new perception, then of course it's just going to be haphazard, in the sense that we're just going to be relying on our skills and our expertise. But we both, I mean, all of us know that we are so much more than that. In our daily lives, we are so much more than um, our qualifications and our degrees and our certifications and our accomplishments and our, maybe we're in academia and we've got, fellowships and scholarships. We're so much more than that. So I think where we tend to shortchange ourselves, at least we'll talk from the legal profession point of view, is that we place a lot of emphasis on our skills. So we just become known for what we do. And so we tend to live this we have almost dualistic branding, where you're known in the legal profession for what you do, but no one really knows you, right? And what we're trying to say with branding yourself with intention is where you're going to incorporate everything about you, like Khairiyah said, your package, your talents, your quirks, your weaknesses, your strengths, your skills, your certifications, all of those things, your personality type, all of those things present to the profession this package that is you. And you got to find a place for that. You've got to find a place for yourself in all of your glory. You got to find a place for yourself in the profession. And I think we really shortchange ourselves when we only focus on our skills. And from my perspective, when I see people even putting themselves out for jobs and they want articles and they want the associate position and all of it's purely what's on the CV. They don't know what their values are. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know. The question comes up in the interview, tell me about yourself. You think that you would be the best person to ask about yourself, but that's usually the hardest question in an interview, because no one has taken the time to sit and to figure out who you are and to reconcile, as I said yesterday, to reconcile yourself with yourself. So oftentimes we're living kind of outside ourselves, and we might even accept other people's branding of us, other people's versions, what they want us to be. And so when the question comes up, tell me about yourself, that is a classic opportunity for you to put out your brand, to tell the employer who you are, what you have to offer, what value you have to add, what are the things that you stand for, what are the things you don't tolerate, what are the things you won't compromise on, how you add value in your personal life to the profession. But of course, if we haven't reconciled ourselves to ourselves, if we haven't sat down and asked the question, the existential question, who am I? Then of course we're not going to be able to answer that question, which ironically you are the best person to answer. So I think a good starting point, and I say this for graduates, I say this for those that are in that twilight zone between graduation and articles, or graduation and pupillage, or even between articles and your first, finishing articles and getting your first job as an admitted attorney. Do that introspection, do that self-discovery, because only when you do that, that you can truly put yourself forward and not fall into the stereotypical, the persona of the legal profession, which a lot of us tend to just, we get into that. And so we're like, okay, a lawyer is supposed to be a certain way. So whether you're male or female, you just take on this sort of by day one way, by night you're Batman type of thing. It's like you put on, I mean, you put on the cape, right? You put on the bib, maybe you put on a mask. I don't know. Hopefully not. Um, but like you come out at night and you're this other kind of person, and that's how lawyers are supposed to be. But this whole thing about personal branding is that it's personal.
It
So
has to be
it's the antithesis
personal.
of it's the antithesis of a stereotype. The stereotype is just a generalization. Now, are you that, or do you have enough self-respect to allow your unique package to be generalized into a stereotype? Or are you going to push your way and say, hey, this is me in all my glory, love me or hate me, but I'm going to find my place in this profession. I'm going to find my place in the world with all of the stuff that makes me me. I think that's a good place.
Yeah, and we have to be careful about letting other people make assumptions about us.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we don't want these negative perceptions to follow us everywhere. You know, rather control the perceptions, rather put the right information out there about yourself, rather than thinking, okay, I'm going to follow the business brand and be whatever they want me to be. It should be two separate brands always. You know, you've got your personal brand and you've got your business brand. It cannot be one and the
Mm.
same. And a lot of people do that where they just follow the company's brand, and then the question that arises is, well, what happens if you leave that company, or what happens if you
Yeah.
lose your job, and what do you have to fall back on then?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have your own personal, separate brand representing you and your values, and the type of image that you want everyone to know about you, right? What they
Mm.
perceive about you, rather than let me just fit into the company culture and follow whatever everyone else is doing. I
Mm.
think the worst thing that you can do is sit there and copy. Just
Yeah.
sit there and copy someone else's content or business's content and think, okay, it's one and the same. I'll just follow along.
Mm.
Um, I think you have to be true to yourself. You have to be authentic, and you have to have your own personal story, right? Really know
Yeah.
yourself and be able to, at any moment, just tell people, this is me, this is about me.
Yeah.
This is what I've been through. These are my skills. This is my niche. And over time, the personal brand evolves, right? It's
Mm.
not static,
Yeah.
because you, as a person, you're constantly changing,
Yeah.
and so you will find that your brand might change. It might evolve into something else.
Mm.
You might go
Mm.
into a completely different direction, and that's perfectly normal because you're a person that is constantly evolving and constantly changing.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. So I think it's very important to personalize the brand and make sure it does represent you and not necessarily your business or whoever you're working for.
Yeah.
Shall we move
I
on
think
to sorry, yes, go ahead.
no, no. Yeah, we can move. We can move on. I just wanted to. You touched on imbibing an ethos of the firm. I think that's another thing that happens besides falling into the stereotype of what the profession expects you to be. You are sometimes you will just, if you don't have your own personal value system, which is a crucial part of your branding, you're going to just adopt the ethos of the firm. And the thing is, it may not align with your personal values. So again, you're going to be doing a big old act because you'll just play along because you want to keep your job and you want to be promoted. And And so, if they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So if your brand hasn't been established by then and you're just sort of you're going with what the company stands for, and when the company eventually has to fire you or retrench you, I mean, okay, is that still your value system? So I think that's the other pitfall that and often when you're preparing for interviews, they'll say, do research on the firm because they're going to, and tell them how your values aligns with the firm. I think that's sometimes there's a lot of lip service that is done to the firm's ethos as well, because we just want to get the job. So we'll say, yes, my values, these values of the firm resonate with some of my own values, and it's just it's so cringe, in my opinion. You're just doing that so you can get the job. You're not prepared to say, you know what, there are things that I don't support in your value system, and I won't compromise on. However, I will be able to deliver good legal services, or I'll be good with service delivery and be good with the client. So I think that's an interesting point there, that if you don't have that preparation, or even for interviews, if people ask me how to prepare, and I say, know yourself. And one of the things is you got to know what are your non-negotiables, what are the things you're not going to compromise on. And if you don't go with that preparation, forget the questions, the actual questions. No one can know those questions in advance, really. But if you haven't done that personal preparation, then of course you'll say anything to get the position, right? And we have so much more. We are so much more than that. We are so much more than just compromising to get our foot in the door. Like, you must be able to stand up for what you believe in, regardless of the context. And again, that's what you'll be known for. That, you know, regardless of the firm that it was or the client that it was, she held her own. She stuck to her guns, even though they were putting pressure on her, or directors were putting pressure on her. She'd rather resign than compromise. So you want to be known for that kind of, steadfast position. So anyway,
Yeah,
next point.
and I also think don't work for a place where your values don't align anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, if the values are completely different and you don't agree with them, that's probably not the best place for you, because there needs to be some sort of alignment. I mean, not, like the firm's values can't clash with your values. I mean, you can have a
Mm,
different set of values, but they complement each other. They cannot be clashing with each other.
mm,
Um,
mm.
and you shouldn't have to compromise yourself to get your foot in the door as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the type of work environment you want to be in, where you have to make yourself small or compromise yourself to fit in and be like everyone else at that firm. I think that's also not a good place to be in.
Mm,
You need to be a strong, whole, complete person, and you can say, sorry, I don't agree with that, in a very respectful manner.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah. So I think the next points that we wanted to talk about was why you should have personal branding. You know, so the personal branding to me is always an advantage. It's not supposed to be to your disadvantage.
mm-hmm,
It can only add more to who you are and what you do, because what it does is it helps you to differentiate yourself from your colleagues. So, because every single one of us is different and we all have our own
mm-hmm,
personal backgrounds and our own personal strengths and our value system. And it also helps you to gain an advantage over your competitors, right? Because you can explain why someone should work with you rather, or maybe perhaps someone connects with you on a deeper level because of your value system, or where you came from,
mm,
or your hobbies. Perhaps you both do golfing. So it helps you to differentiate yourself, gives you an advantage over your competitors, and most importantly, it gives you this visibility that will help you to build more relationships. and to help you network with people. I mean, today we're doing an Instagram live, and the two of us, we connected over LinkedIn. And if we didn't have our own personal brands, we wouldn't have done this Instagram live. And that's the power of personal branding. It helps you to build relationships, increase your visibility. It could open up opportunities for you and collaborations. And I think it also helps you to build your reputation. There's many ways that you can promote yourself, and there's many ways that you could go and connect with people over social media or even in person. You can ask to meet someone, do you mind going for a cup of coffee, and meet with them and network. I'm sure you've had, Lisa, lots of people just reach out to you and you don't know them at all. It's just a cold outreach.
Yeah.
I get that all the time. Yes. I get people DMing me and going, hey, I have this problem or this situation. Can you help me? Do you do this? And I have people reaching out and saying, um, could we have a referral connection? Could I refer work to you and you refer work to me? It's good for business, right? It helps you to gain clients, and hopefully also anyone that is in your audience or follows you at some stage. I mean, they're following you for a reason. At some stage, hopefully the idea is they do convert to a client and they do contact you when they need you and they have a legal issue.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I've discovered the why about personal branding very incidentally, maybe more accidentally. And that's why I'm able to speak about it because I've seen the effect of it. That when you hold yourself out to be a specific, or you hold yourself out as having, look, we all have the same starting point. And I think we spoke about this yesterday. We all started in the same way. We all went through the mill, we went to the articles, pupillage, whatever. But it's that what you said, that issue about differentiation is that how do you take that basic qualification? How do you approach it from your unique perspective? How do you find your niche? They call it finding your niche. Okay. So in my case, basic LLB, pupillage, practice as an advocate, worked at law firms, and I'm leveraging that experience. Now that is a experience that all of us go through, but it's the way I've used that experience, the way I have added my own spin to it, the way I'm able to communicate my experience in a way that helps other people, be it through mentorship, through teaching, webinars, guest speaking events. But there's a way that I take that basic experience, that foundational experience, and I stamp my package. Or it's like, this is the way I do it. Okay. And that's for me, that has distinguished me from a lot of my colleagues. And and like you said, it's what probably drew you to me because you saw that we were both content creators. You're already a content creator. Um, I am a content creator, and then you reached out to me. And so now we're putting our heads together and we're doing what we're doing. So if I hadn't, you know, remained consistent and unapologetic and just got on with my stuff on LinkedIn, I probably wouldn't have attracted the opportunities, the connections, the relationships. And I mean, the power of the thing is that if it's online, you're reaching so many people. I mean, I'm still, you know, astounded to this day that I can reach other continents, I mean, other parts of Africa and other continents. And like the content that I think is solely for South African law students, is relevant for a lot of people. So, I mean, that's a testimony to me putting my spin on things that even people that are out of our jurisdiction or they're not even in the legal profession, but they're thinking about getting into law, they're like, hey, your posts are really, I'm thinking about getting into law and I'm really enjoying like the education or the refreshers. So, I mean, that is That in itself is a testament to you take the basics and you put your spin on it. And in that way you differentiate yourself. Because I get, and I'm sure, I don't know if you get like applications and people want referrals for articles,
Yes,
and do you know people, and do you know, like, do you have colleagues that are looking for CAs? And my first question, at least in my head, is, well, you are looking at 100,000 other graduates. So what makes you stand out?
yes,
Besides
yes,
saying, besides saying, besides saying, oh, it's an LPC requirement, we all know that. We hope the system changes, but it's an LPC requirement. I got to do articles, 400 hours. Okay, we all had to do that. But why would I want to take you on as a candidate attorney? What's your value proposition? You don't have experience, granted, but I always say sell your aptitude, sell your capacity to learn. Know what your soft skills are. Know what university has taught you. The soft skills. Know the hard skills, what the qualifications, what you have under your belt. Your other work experiences, maybe you had part-time jobs. That that enhanced your skill set. Okay, you have to have a value offering beyond just saying, I need you to give me articles, or I need you to give me a job as a partner or as an admitted attorney or whatever. So for me, I think, and somebody, I was challenged yesterday on this personal branding thing, where somebody wanted to engage me to train them. And I said I can help them on the personal branding aspect. And they gave me all the disadvantages of, even if you have a personal brand, um, what are the variables and the things that can still come and block your path and prevent you from getting employed. And I said, the way I ended off that email, I said in my mind, challenge accepted. Okay, like, how am I going to? I'm always up for that. I'm always up for, like, expansion and somebody pushing back that forces me to stretch myself. So I was like, okay, challenge accepted. And the way I ended off the response to that particular email was to say that if you have a personal brand, you should be in a position to make an offer as opposed to waiting to get a job. Okay, so it must put you on the front foot, where you know yourself so well, you know what you can do, what you can't do, that you're able to tell people, hey, here's my CV, but here's what I'm capable of. Do you want me? That's what I
yes,
do now.
yes, yes.
And this too has been incidental, where I no
And
longer put myself at the mercy of recruiters or firms that are advertising. I will go to them even if they're not advertising. I will email them and ask what the process is to apply, and I will attach my CV. I'll say this is what I can do. Here are all the links to my portfolio, other places where I've done similar things. You know, do you want me? So it's that whole thing about, even as a graduate, as a candidate attorney, as a newly admitted attorney, or even as an advocate, you must be able to, your personal branding, the one of the whys of that personal branding is that it puts you on the front foot, where you can be the one, even if you are responding to a job advert. Yes, you are responding to their offer, but you must at the very least be able to make a counter offer to say, if you get me on, in addition to fulfilling all your requirements, I can be a mentor to other CAs. I can help with training them. I can do CPD with incoming newly admitted attorneys. Make yourself irresistible. I always say that.
yes,
And you can only make a counter offer if you know what you're capable of. So I think a very important why is that you want to be on the front foot when it comes to putting yourself out there and going for those positions that you want. And sometimes you got to go and you got to pitch it, and you got to maybe make them create the position for you, because you are
yeah,
capable of so much, and you're not over promising, as I call election promises. you got a portfolio, you've got social proof, right? And of course, the social proof comes from having built up your brand. So for me, you ask for recommendations on my LinkedIn profile. That's social proof. That's people that have benefited from my services. So if you have links to all of that, I mean, you don't even need to attach a CV. That in itself, the fact that other people have worked under you and they benefited, or you've mentored them and they benefited, or whatever, the social proof aspect is a crucial part of the brand, because it says that you've actually, beyond what you are saying you can do, you've actually made an impact by doing it for someone or for an organization. And here's the link to the recommendation, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
indisputable.
Yeah, and you touched on something very important. There's always going to be obstacles in your journey, in your professional journey, in your personal life. And it's about how you overcome those obstacles, right? So, yes, there can be a ton of reasons why you think a personal brand is not going to work for you,
Mm,
but there's also reasons why it can work for you. And it's about overcoming those obstacles, excuse me, and using them as your strengths, right?
mm,
My voice is disappearing. And then using that to your advantage. Look, I've had
yeah.
this obstacle in my life. This is how I overcome it. And look, I'm still where I am today, right? That's the approach that you should be taking. And then you touched on something so important. With personal branding, you can reach more people, right? Instead of, back in the days, people used to do cold calling and cold emailing, and you can only do
Mm,
so many in a day with the amount of hours that we have. With
mm-hmm,
personal branding, you can cast the net much wider and you can reach so many more people than if you had to go and reach people one by one by one. So I think it's a really great way. I mean, sometimes I get something like 2,000 views. It's a really great way to reach people,
mm,
right? Without having to personally contact each and every person. And so it helps you increase your visibility and your brand awareness, um, and builds your reputation. So I think there's only positives for me. I mean, the
mm,
only negative is if you're trying to be someone you're not. And then
yeah.
that's going to totally backfire for you if you're pretending
Mm,
to be someone you're not, or I don't know, you're a fraud, you say you're a conveyancer and you're actually not. I mean, that's obviously not going to work. It's completely going to backfire. And those are like one of the things that I always say, don't do this. Don't copy someone else and don't be someone you're not, because that will actually be negative for your personal brand,
mm,
and it's going to backfire. And then you're going to have to try to repair your reputation after that, which
yeah.
is even harder. Yeah. So I don't I don't recommend trying to be someone you're not, or copying someone else.
Mm, mm,
Shall we move on to the myths about personal branding? I know there's a lot of
yeah.
myths. Um,
Yeah.
I always get this one. Oh, it's for celebrities. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not going to waste my time on this. Only celebrities do that. No, that's not true. I mean, celebrities are celebrities because they have such good personal brands, and
Yeah.
because they also probably have a really good marketing
Yeah.
and PR team behind them. Um,
Yeah.
and also, you don't have a personal brand to just become a celebrity or to go viral. I know a lot of young people, they want to be famous, they want to go viral. There's, like you said, the rise of all these social media influencers. I think in the legal space, your aim is not to go viral. I think your aim is
Yeah.
more to increase your visibility and brand awareness, and build your reputation, and
Mm,
build relationships and connections with people. I think
mm,
that's the whole point of a personal brand. I don't know how you feel about celebrities. I mean, it's no, really like these. I think a lot of the older generation think it's it's for popularity. It's to become famous. That's the excuse, and I think it's not about that anymore. It
Yeah.
actually you
Yeah.
can use it to gain clients, and it's not just about the following. The amount of followers that you have, I call that vanity metrics. How many followers do you have? It's not about that at
Mm.
all. Um, it's about making sure that you're putting yourself out there in a positive light and that
Yeah.
other people are perceiving you in that positive light. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and then the second myth is, oh, I'm so too afraid to do this. I'm going to be seen as arrogant, I'm going to be bragging about
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, and I think to a certain extent, as a legal practitioner, you have to market yourself. You
Yeah.
have to be a little bit salesy, and I think the LLB really lacks this. I mean, we need to be taught about sales and marketing and personal branding and how do we get clients. But to a certain extent, you do have to sell yourself,
Yeah.
not your body, not your soul, but your services. Don't take that the wrong way. Then showcase what can you do. These are your results. These are your testimonials or your case studies. Oh, you did this course. A lot of people will show, oh, I've upskilled. I've done this course. Oh, I have a new certification.
Yeah.
Showcase how you can help someone. Maybe like you spoke about, this is your method. This is how you do
Yeah.
things
Mm-hmm.
differently, and why someone should use you. And then a lot of people say it's risky. And I think this is the myth that I think, yes, it is. It is risky because
Mm.
you are stepping out of your comfort zone. You are putting yourself out there. It
Mm.
is risky, but it's not risky in the negative sense. It's risky in the
Yeah.
positive sense that you're putting yourself out there. You're gaining new skills. You're learning about marketing and personal branding, and maybe you're learning how to create posts on Canva. I mean, these are all
Mm-hmm.
positive skills,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And it's risky in the positive sense that you don't have anything to lose unless you're not being authentic,
Yeah.
right? Unless you're pretending to be someone you're not. Um, and then I also hear a lot of people say, um, my technical skills are going to get me the recognition that I deserve. And so I'm not going to bother with personal branding at all.
Mm.
And I think, like we discussed, everybody's got the same technical skills. And so technical skills is not enough anymore. You need to have more than the technical skills, right? Everybody's got the same law
Mm.
degree. We all did articles. We all did pro bono work. And so for me, I think your visibility is more important or as important as your ability. So you can be the best conveyancer, but if nobody knows about you, it really doesn't matter. And that's
Mm-hmm.
also why a lot of businesses fail sometimes, is because yes, they have a great package, but they didn't market themselves. No one knows about this business or this product or this special
Mm.
service. If no one knows of you, it really doesn't matter, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you need to have clients. And the
Mm.
only ways to get clients is to be visible, is to market, is to sell your services, is to have a personal brand. And I think the last myth that people often tell me is, oh, I have to pretend to be someone I'm not. And I think obviously we've said now tons of times, no, don't be someone you're not. Okay,
Mm.
don't try to be someone else. I mean, a lot of people have these people that they admire, their heroes, and that's great. But don't try to be that person and don't copy that person. You want to be your own unique person, um, and make sure that you're not a fraud, because it will ruin your reputation.
Mm. Yeah. I. I mean, Number one, it's not for celebrities. You don't, at least in the legal profession, you don't do it. You do it for different reasons. So if you're looking to, as I tell students, graduates who are just starting to maybe create content on LinkedIn, I say avoid controversial and sensational stuff. Um, so it's not the aim to go viral. And I mean, you can go viral for the wrong reasons as well. It's not that it's always positive. So no, it's not about, oh, it's only for celebrities or for those that have a public image. If you don't put yourself out there, and I mean with them, with people like actors, they have to go and find an agent. The agent has to go and market them, right? And then they become known for the stuff that they act in and the music that they make. So it starts even with them. It starts somewhere invisible, obscure, and then to maintain the brand, you see all the stuff that they do, and they maybe take on endorsements and stuff like that. So no, if anything, you'll become an accidental celebrity. If that's not what you're chasing, you won't be comfortable with it, like me. Where it's like, you're not used to being like influential and having a diverse group of people, appreciating you. And so it's like, yeah, you're famous for the right reasons, but for me, it's still something that I'm dealing with. So if you become a celebrity of sorts in the legal field, then let it be accidental or incidental. And you'd rather be famous than infamous, and you'd rather be famous for adding value to the profession than be infamous for just being a scoundrel or someone that lacks ethics and morals. So yeah, and um, I think about technical skills as well. I think I touched on that earlier. Is that uh, you have you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do with this? Even when you're a graduate or while you're doing articles, you're going to ask yourself, like, what's going to be my place in the profession? I have the same skill set, and to avoid melding into the crowd, uh, what am I gonna how am I gonna spin the skill set? What am I gonna bring to it that's gonna make people wanna come to me as a conveyancer instead of to you as a conveyancer? But we have the same skill. So again, it's all about that, if you become known for the stuff that you do, then you might as well be a robot. I think maybe even robots have a better personality, but you're really gonna be shortchanging yourself as a human being because we are built with personality. We are psychological beings. We want to be heard. We want to get validation. And I think obviously there might be some deeper issues if you might have some people pleasing tendencies, or you might be an overachiever because, parents place that high expectation on you to perform. So you want to be known for what you do because you get validation for what you do. But when you find out, and it can happen at any point in life, when you find out who you are, it adds a whole lot of substance to what you can do. And so people want to come to me as a conveyancer because she's a nice person. She's a kind person. As we said yesterday, you'd rather be known for the kind of person that you are and your skills second. Because who you are must be the thing that wraps around your skill. So your skill must be like, what can I say? Cushion. So if people don't, maybe you're a very mediocre conveyancer, but they'll say, hey, you know what, she got the job done. It took a bit long, but she got the job done. But I like going there because of the hospitality, or because of the client service, or the aftercare service, whatever. Right? So it's like, if you're just looking at your skills, you're shortchanging yourself. But if you know who you are, you can wrap your skill around, or you can wrap yourself around your skill, so that people know, if anything, they just know you as a person rather than as the lawyer who helped me do X, Y, Z. Because we are so much more than our skills, our qualifications. our talent. If we're going through life just on that basis, then I mean, you're basically robbing the world. I mean, if I didn't come to my own self-reconciliation, I can't imagine all those people that I wouldn't have helped, that I've helped to this, to date. So I would have robbed the world. So if you are just going on your skill, maybe you're scared to let the world know who you are. Maybe there are some deeper issues, and of course, for that, there's help. But all of us, deep down inside, we have this desire to people to know us. It's a scary thing to be known, but at the same time, it feels so energizing when people get to know the real you. So if you're not able to put that out into the world and it's just your skill, then of course you're actually robbing the world, you're robbing future clients, you're robbing those around you that you love, right? From knowing the full you. They just know the stuff that you do or they just know you for the stuff that you have. And I think if you want to add value to the legal profession, put your full self out there because you want to be perceived as totality, and you must also be cool with people not liking your brand as well. So, and I'm cool with that. So, you're not doing it again. You're not doing it for the sake of becoming popular because you understand that there may be some people who won't appreciate what you do, and that's fine. But the
I
testimonials
think
that you
you're
get
right.
from
Yeah.
yeah, but the testimonials that you get from people who you are impacting, who do appreciate your content, should actually be the thing that keeps you going. And I look forward to those kinds of messages because it's like just case it encourages me. Oh, one person got impacted by the post today, or one person has been following me, but maybe never commented, but they'll say, I've been watching you for a while. So it's like, okay, it's like encouragement to keep going. So I always appreciate that positive feedback. And to those that my content doesn't appeal to or my brand doesn't appeal to, hashtag keep scrolling. Scroll past what I do.
Scroll on by. Scroll on by. Yeah, I think what you said, I totally agree with because we're in a very people profession. We work with people all the time. And so
Mm,
it's important to be a good person first before being a lawyer. You know,
mm,
do good to others and then you will receive good. Be a good person in general. And
mm,
also, we're supposed to be role models in the community. We're supposed to uphold justice, the rule of law,
yeah.
be equality and all of that and Ubuntu. So it is very important for us to actually practice those values and practice the values that we said are important to us as well. Um, Even if you can't help someone, maybe refer them to someone who can, or
Mm,
if you meet someone and they need a will and you don't do well, let them connect to someone else who can.
mm,
And you don't want to be gatekeeping or hoarding anything to yourself. I think
mm,
there's more than enough for everybody if everybody shares when they should share or refer when they should refer. And
mm,
I think you're absolutely right. You won't be everyone's cup of tea.
mm,
Not everyone is going to enjoy your content or like you. And so it's something that when you start your personal brand, you have to accept.
yeah.
Um, Johnny's not going to like this, or I'm not going to be friends with this person, or whatever. Maybe you just go your separate ways. I mean, you don't need to be nasty about anything. I
Mm,
mean, we're
mm,
not high school kids, and it's not a popularity contest. It's just about finding your tribe and finding the people who do resonate with you, who do enjoy your content, who do want to work with you, who do think you're a good person, who can vouch for you. Those things are really, really important. And then I think we touched on this yesterday. We spoke about that beautiful Venn diagram and Ikigai, and figuring out, okay, this is your strengths, these are your weaknesses, this is what you enjoy doing, this is what society needs right now, and figure out, okay, where do you fit in that? Where do all the circles overlap?
Mm.
And that's what you really want to promote, and package, because that where everything meets, that's your little niche right there,
Mm.
and that's what you want to promote, and ensure that people understand this is what you do, this is how you help them,
Mm.
this is how you do it differently, um,
Mm.
and then you also need to think about, well, okay, what type of content are you going to post, if you're going to post anything at all?
Mm.
What kind of social media platforms are you going to be on, if you're going to be on any social media platforms at all? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I always recommend LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is
Yeah.
the easiest. Yeah, and it's very professional, and the content is very professional. So you don't have to post about your weekend, or where you went away and your holiday and all of that. It's very low maintenance and very low key. Maybe you have an opinion on a certain case. Maybe you wrote a legal article. Perhaps there's, I don't know, you started a newsletter. Perhaps you upskilled. There was a certification,
Mm-hmm.
that you obtained. Maybe you attended this event and you post about this event, or you met this person. Um, you could do also webinars and presentations, and all of
Mm-hmm.
this forms part of your personal brand. And I think LinkedIn is the easiest, because you generally only need to post once a week, which is
Yeah.
not difficult. I think it's, if you focus on posting once a week, commenting on someone else's post once a week, and if you're able to do one of those contributions once a week, then, your personal brand will naturally grow. Okay,
Yeah.
because you also need to consider how much time you have. As busy professionals, especially legal practitioners, we don't have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of time. And we don't have all the time in the world to be posting every single day and have, I don't know, 5 Instagram stories every single day. Some of us don't
Except for
have that.
me. Except for me.
So some I know that some people always say it's too time consuming and they don't have time. And I always say, well, then start on LinkedIn. It's probably the easiest thing to do. On a
Mm.
Sunday or over the weekend, you can post something or create a post and then schedule it so that it looks
Mm.
like it's scheduled for Monday.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. Yeah, it's a lot easier, then I think something like Instagram or Facebook, even though I am on there, because I feel like Instagram, you would need to post about 3-4 times a week. And then you also would need Instagram stories. Um, and then Facebook is even more time consuming. I think Facebook, you have to post every single day, or twice a day to grow rapidly, if that's your aim, right? If that's your aim. I'm not on TikTok. I don't know about TikTok. Um, I'm not on Twitter either. I can't really give
Uh-uh.
advice there, but I think as a legal professional, I think LinkedIn is probably the easiest for you, and just to put out
Mm.
professional content, and you can keep your personal life personal. You don't have to expose any of those private things.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I think LinkedIn is the best and the easiest as well. And I also think you don't need to create, content in Canva. I know a lot. I do that. Lisa does that. I know a lot of people where, they just have a lovely headshot. They have lovely headline,
Mm.
and they post, okay, today I was at the court, we had this matter, or we won this divorce matter, or
Mm.
we're at the deeds office, or maybe it's just you at your desk. I
Mm.
mean, you can post what you feel comfortable with. You could do more behind the scenes. I know there's this candidate attorney who's every week he posts, this is what I learned this week, because he's a candidate attorney,
Mm.
and obviously there's a lot to learn, and everything is new to him, and he keeps rotating. So,
Mm.
he posts about what he learns every week. There's so much you can do, and there's so many
Yeah.
ways that you could add value, and promote your brand and your business. And then someone asked me the other day, when should they start? And I said, now. You don't have to wait until, I don't know, you have 10 years experience. I think start now. I think start as soon as possible. I think the sooner the better,
Mm.
so that you can start building your connections, building your reputation, um,
Yeah.
and showcasing your knowledge and everything like that.
Yeah. Uh, I think this what you said now goes to the point of having a digital footprint. Um, in this day and in this digital or post-digital age, if that's not part of your branding as a professional, then you're going to lose out a large demographic. I mean, even us, even me, trying my hand at Instagram. Yesterday we were joking, like two geriatric millennials trying to make it big on Instagram. But I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to make the mistakes and figure it out and set up all these lives because I've heard this is where the young people are, and I want to be able to add value in any social media platform that I'm on. It's about adding value. I've never been one to gratuitously post about the stuff that I'm doing or look at my this or look at my that or look at where I went. For me, it must be very purposeful what I post. So even being on Instagram is not for me to post selfies and I'm still posting my regular teaching stuff and having these lives and trying to make the platform, trying to become relevant on this platform for this demographic. But the digital footprint is indispensable. You have to, and of course, LinkedIn is the mecca for professionals. And you have to start somewhere. You have to start, I always say, you have to start adding value. Okay. So if you're a CA, like you said, that CA post about what I learned this week, as time allows me, I go and I'll say, hey, thank you for sharing. Thank you for creating this content. Because this means one more person was brave enough to start. It's like just talk about what you're learning. Just try not to complain all the time, but just you want to complain. My formula is if you're complaining in a post, complain and then construct, so that the person leaves the post with some kind of hope or some kind of a solution. But yeah, LinkedIn, start now. Start commenting. If and content creation, is something that evolves with time. That's my experience anyway. And we use Canva because it helped, and I needed to put pictures and make my thing a bit more colorful because I started with textual posts, um, and very basic graphics in Canva, and then I moved up to PDFs, and I moved up to carousels, and of course listening to what my followers wanted, what was going to be good or um, what they were going to benefit from. So you must have a digital footprint as part of your personal brand, and LinkedIn is the easiest place to start. It's the easiest place, as I said, your personal brand within the industry, it must be a presence that you create. And so if you're going to pick a digital platform, LinkedIn is the easiest platform to cultivate that presence. So even when you have a certification that you are celebrating, or you're looking, as you said, you get cold calls for referrals. I want to do it for you. I want to celebrate you because I've seen you on the platform. I've seen you add value on the platform. I've seen you put forward your opinion. I've seen you engage with whatever's happening in the industry. So for me, what is one of the LinkedIn peeves is asking for stuff, and I'll be like,